Hey, what's up, guys? It is Jesse Soto yet again from Texas American Title in the Heights. Today I'm with the one and only Miss Ashley Bandara with the Corporate Legal. We are going to have fun today.
Yeah.
We're going to learn how to make the Aviation cocktail, which is beautiful. And since it is the Queen's 70th Jubilee, we're using London Beefeater Gin. God bless the king.
What?
The queen, sorry.
Wow.
God bless the queen. Oops. Yeah, so we're gonna make this. We're gonna talk a little bit about LLCs, why they're important, what you do, where you're from, and just a little bit of everything. So I think this is gonna be a fun little segment. So let's get to it. Let's go ahead and make this cocktail. Okay. So the Aviation, the recipe was done out in 1916. Hey. It was in a recipe like cocktail book. Then it actually went away in the 1960s, like just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Housewives apparently didn't want aviation.
I know, and it's with like.
When I think of the 1960s, I think of housewives drinking cocktails.
Yeah.
I think of the men just drinking whiskey, and the housewives with like their martini glasses and things.
Oh yeah, with your Gibsons.
With my Gibsons too. I think of them pregnant in bars with cigarettes and cocktails.
I like that.
That's how I picture.
You know, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Okay, fair. So basically, like my folks, I guess my grandparents. Yeah.
And you turned out almost okay.
Semi okay.
Yeah.
But the cocktail actually had a huge comeback, a big revival, back in 2007. It decided to make its comeback, kick down the door.
47 years.
We're here, baby. Yeah.
It took 47 years.
That's a long time.
To come back.
That was a really quick math.
Do you know? Do you know how it was resurrected?
I don't.
Like what brought it? What happened in 2007?
I don't know. And then Ryan Reynolds came out with the Aviator Gin.
Yeah.
And apparently it's the perfect one to make an aviation. So let's knock out this bad boy. So
when did Ryan Reynolds got started in a movie, and it's about when he's like a frat guy or something. What was it called?
That was called Van Wilder.
Van Wilder. Yes. Was it like the release of Van Wilder that brought back? Did he bring back the aviation? And is that why he?
I don't think there was an aviation in there.
Did archaeologists rediscover the classic recipe?
They had to.
That had the aviation in it.
They were digging in the Everglades in New York City. So to start, it takes 2 ounces of gin. So since we're doing 2 of us, I'm gonna put 4 ounces of gin. So there's uno.
Is that a 2 ounce side or a 1 ounce
Dose,
side?
That's a 1 ounce side. The other one's a 1.5. I could do math.
But no, this is better.
I was born and raised in Splendora, Texas, and we don't math good.
We don't math good? I was raised by an electrical engineer father with a PhD in neurophysiology.
Nerd.
So there was not a lot of room for not mathing good or speaking good. So
I'm speaking good. So we've got 2 ounces of gin.
Yep.
Boom, again. God save the queen.
You forgot the ounce for me to just drink while I'm waiting.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit. And then it's a 1/2 ounce of the maraschino liqueur, which I don't know what else you would use this for.
But I'm glad you have a bottle because it's pretty.
Yeah, it is really pretty.
It's like a giant bitters bottle.
It is. It's kind of cool.
Ounce.
I know, but
there's 2 of us.
There's 2 of them.
You do math good.
I math good.
You do.
I do math good.
I mathed real good today.
Yeah. So Ashley, you're an attorney.
I am an attorney.
Business formation attorney.
Yeah, that's my bread and butter. I help people protect themselves when they are running a business, because that's essentially what an LLC is.
Yeah.
An LLC is the way that you protect your personal assets and your personal name, all that jazz when you run a business.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this thing, a lot of people, when I tell them they should start an LLC, say, but I'm doing everything right. And they think that if they're following the law, then they will never be sued. Because being sued is for people who've broken a law, right? Like, that's the common understanding. That is incredibly false.
Okay.
Literally, anyone out there can file a lawsuit for any reason. Like, they have to put that reason into a petition when they file it, but anybody can file a lawsuit against you, and then you have to hire a lawyer to come in and argue this
I don't like that.
whole trial. Like, and it's a whole litigation process. It takes years. There are depositions. They're very invasive, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you just disagree with somebody and they feel strongly enough about it, they can sue you even if you did everything right. So LLCs are the way you protect your personal assets, because disagreements happen in business. Like
100%.
you two might just have understood the agreement differently, right? But if somebody feels strongly enough about it, they can file a lawsuit against you.
That's really good to know.
Like, that's what that is. It's kind of scary. Like,
Yeah.
literally anyone can file a lawsuit even if they're wrong. And some people do file the lawsuits knowing they're wrong because they want you to pay them to not have to go through litigation.
That's fair.
Because you're going to have to pay an attorney tens of thousands of dollars
Yes. Is that
to
why
now go through litigation.
Is that why you're so rich?
I don't do litigation.
Fair.
I know.
That's fair. So that's kind of, you know, with the house, I mean, anyone can file a lien on anyone, which is really messed up.
It's also terrifying.
Really messed up.
Yeah.
But so to finish that cocktail, so I knocked out the maraschino, the core. Then you add 1/4 ounce of the creme de violet. Creme de violet?
Which I love. I think creme.
Creme?
Yeah.
Creme? And then...
Creme de violette.
Oh, I like that.
Creme de violette.
I like that. And then 3/4 of lemon juice. And I freshly squeezed it beforehand.
And 3/4 times 2 is 1.5 ounces. You got to use the 1.5 ounce side.
I did get to use the 1.5 ounce
the
side.
jigger.
I hope I made enough. I better have. Come on. Yeah.
It's okay, we'll balance it out.
I'll give you a little
I'll
bit
take that
of
one.
my... Okay,
I'm
perfect.
kidding. Hey, that was pretty good.
All right, you got a little... ish.
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right, and then you actually garnish it with a... Sure.
You got it?
Yeah.
So do you need me to open that for you?
Hey, I like that. All right,
Because
so
gender rules are outdated.
They are.
Women can open jars too.
Can they?
Hello,
I'm kidding.
sir.
I kid. Boom. So we are good with that. We've got a nice garnish.
And these are the good maraschino cherries. These
I know.
Are the,
I knew I was having you come, so
Yeah.
I needed to step
you
it
know,
up a
I'm
notch.
a little bit of a cherry
Cheers.
snob. Cheers, sir. Okay. It smells good. That is lovely.
Tip my hat to myself.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. So you have an aviation. So while we sip, let's talk.
I'll try one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Come by, I'll make you one. I'll have this at all times.
Just like hop to your pantry really quick and grab your
And like everyone should have your creme de
violet.
violet. Everyone should have that in there.
Yes. Next time you go to the grocery store, bread, butter, creme de violet.
Yeah, simple.
That's
It's
it.
easy to find.
Fine.
So you have had your own legal practice for how many years?
I think at this point it is 7 years.
7 years. Okay,
Mhm.
and then you
I
started.
went out in 2016. I think
Okay,
I did that math right.
that's awesome.
And
Something
summer
like
of
that.
2016. So.
Oh wow, that's been a minute.
Yeah.
And then you decided to kind of start the corporate legal, which helps folks literally do an LLC in like 5 minutes online by themselves.
Super quickly. So what I found is the people who were coming to me for an LLC formation were the ones who wanted to make sure that it was done right.
Yeah.
We all know that LegalZoom exists and it's a giant booming business, right?
For sure.
So with LegalZoom as an option for forming LLCs, if somebody was coming to me for an LLC, it's because they didn't just want to plug it into a form. They wanted to make sure that an attorney had their hands on it, had their eyes on it, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of broke my heart is they were definitely paying a lot more to have me do it
Yeah.
when really they can submit when really they should be able to submit the same information the same way they do with LegalZoom And when an attorney looks over it, I can be like, yeah, no, this is good.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
And everybody asks the same questions over and over again. So I've tried to answer them in the form as you go through it. So really, it's price comparable to LLC and other online formation companies. But knowing that you've got an attorney who put all the information in there and an attorney who's preparing it on the back end. So, for example, we had somebody who's a therapist or a counselor submit through the form.
Okay.
And it came to me, and I was like, this is amazing. Just sent him an email that said, FYI, I'm going to have to file this as a PLLC, which is a professional LLC. It's reserved for businesses of professionals that are held to a little bit of a higher standard.
Okay.
So doctors, counselors, therapists, lawyers, all that jazz. And the idea is it doesn't provide quite as much protection because you are a trusted individual in your capacity. Okay. So you really should not be screwing people over.
Fair.
You should very much know what you're doing. And so people who have a PLLC also need to make sure they have malpractice insurance. Usually it's a profession that has malpractice insurance. But because it came through to a lawyer, it didn't just get filed and rejected or filed and now they're operating under the wrong thing. I could send them an email and say, hey, FYI, I'm going to have to file it under this. It will work the same way. It'll cost the same amount of money, but just make sure you have malpractice insurance because it's not going to offer you malpractice protection.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Something considered malpractice. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So
it's cool that they still get the attorney's eyes and the attorney's touch without having to pay the attorney's fees.
Yeah, I've set up a few LLCs in my lifetime through LegalZoom.
Yeah.
And no one looks over it. They just give you the docs and you fill it out.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you have no other help. So that's awesome that you have an attorney to look over it.
Yeah.
Easy as LegalZoom, but you have an attorney backing it, which is awesome. So why? I know we talked about a little bit about LLCs, but why are LLCs so important? I mean,
it's important for your protection. If you're operating your business without any sort of business registration, and LLC is not the only one, but it's the easiest one, and it's the one that I recommend to the most clients. But if you're not, if you get sued, and if you lose that lawsuit, your car, it could be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Taken?
Yeah, but what do the bounty hunters do? Repossessed. Or
and
liquidated to pay it off. Art, assets, bank accounts, all of your personal stuff can be at risk. And so...
Wow, that's scary.
And all you have to do to protect it all is one $300 fee and a form.
Yeah.
And you need a company agreement, and you need to make sure your books are in order to show that there's no commingling of personal assets and business
Which
assets.
the corporate legal does, all of that.
We prepare your company agreement. We do not do your bookkeeping.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
Yes, you can get a company agreement through us. We will file your EIN. Once you file an LLC, you have to file a yearly report in Texas. There's usually not any fee associated with it, but it's something that we can do. We obviously do charge a small fee, but it's pretty low. All that jazz. And once you're one of our clients, we send out those reminders. We send out a reminder saying, hey, it's time for your franchise report. Yeah. Let us know if you want us to handle it. Otherwise, you're good to go. But I will say the real estate industry is one that misses the LLC component a lot.
And that's one thing, knowing a lot of realtors, investors, flippers, it blows my mind how many folks don't have an LLC, especially with the stuff they're doing. Because I've seen, especially coming in a title company, buyers, sellers upset thinking their realtor might have done them wrong, even though they were completely doing everything by the book. It was just, you couldn't make this, and threatening lawsuits everywhere. Yeah. And that's huge.
It's so dangerous. I know. So real estate agents, I am not a real estate attorney.
Yeah.
So forgive me if I say this wrong, but you have to work with a broker, right?
Yeah.
And usually,
right.
Yeah. And a lot of them work with companies like Gary Green or Better Homes.
That's Better Homes too.
Yeah.
And Cole Banker,
right.
Greenwood King,
and so it kind of feels like you work for a company, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. You're a 1099.
Yeah.
If you are a 1099 person in whatever industry you are, you have your own business.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing. If you receive a 1099, you need an LLC. So real estate agents, if they get sued, that's not Coldwell Banker getting sued, that's you. Or they might decide to sue both, because most people will sue every single person they can think of.
Yeah.
And the deeper the pockets, the better. But if you're in the lawsuit with Coldwell Banker, if you don't have your own LLC, if you haven't been operating with your own LLC, your personal assets are all at risk.
That's crazy.
In this moment.
Yeah.
And so again, you don't have to actually do anything wrong. Somebody just has to feel like you did.
Yeah.
And be angry enough about it.
Yeah.
And then especially investors. So if you're buying to flip and it's like, well, it's fine. It's just like a 4-month flip and it's out of my hands. I'm like, cool. What if somebody gets injured on the property during that time? Like, it's crazy. And especially for people who are investing or flipping, if they've got multiple houses, if you don't set up a different LLC for every single one, all of those houses are assets and all of them are at risk if one of them has a lawsuit filed about
That's
it.
insane.
Yeah.
Well,
real estate is really,
it should be
like, you got
more LLC heavy, you would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing with the flipper, I know you and I had a conversation about this before, but they should have an LLC per house they do, right? Because if they have, say, 4 of the homes under one LLC and something happens, all 4 of those are at risk for that one LLC.
Yeah.
So that's insane.
So if you get sued, all of your assets, if you're a business and it's your business assets, if you haven't set up an LLC, it's your personal, all of your assets are at risk with a few exceptions. One exception is your homestead. They cannot take your home away from you. But flippers, if you've got 5 houses that are just flipping, those are not your home.
Yeah.
You're not living, like, you have to prove that this is the house you live in, right? Like, this is the roof over your head. Those are not those. So they are fully open and available and at risk if they are all under the same LLC. These are all business assets that could be taken to pay a lawsuit judgment.
That's not fun, Ashley.
No,
that's not fun at all.
You know what's more fun?
What?
Going to the corporate legal.
Going online.
With a cocktail. Have at it. Pour a glass of wine. Make an aviation. It really is just quick and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that we do differently from the rest of the online LLC formation websites is we do not bait and switch people. You see ads all the time for an LLC for $79 or $89 or something like that. But once you get into the process, they'll take you 2 lines or like 2 screens into the form and say, oh, but you also need an EIN. We'll do that for you too for $100. And then they'll take you a couple more screens and say, oh, you also need your company agreement. We'll do that for you for $200.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the end of the form, I feel like they've basically scared you
to getting
into
everything.
the balance at the end, right? And so what we do instead is we have all of the pricing at the beginning.
I like that.
So you pick what you want at the beginning and your cart is set. That way, like from our homepage, you can research each of the items, you can decide what you need, and then move forward. Because I hate the idea that people are bait and switch.
Yeah.
On these other websites. I want to be really upfront with all of the pricing so that companies can budget for this. They can see exactly how much it's going to cost and they can make an educated decision. And of course, we have like the one of everything package where you are fully covered, you get everything you need, including a business address.
And that's huge. As a registered agent with the business address and the corporate legal will send you all the mail as it comes in, but you don't have to use your personal address. Because that's what's crazy. There was an LLC, there was a realtor, and this is a true story. And they had an LLC, and they were their own registered agent. And so if you go on Google and you typed in the address or the name of that LLC, it had a picture of their home address.
So dangerous.
And I'm just like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
With corporate legal, it's a different, they're the registered agent, different address. So if someone's looking for them, it doesn't show their personal address.
Exactly.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, in order to form an LLC, you have to have something called a registered agent, which is the person who receives your official mail. So if you do get sued, or when you start a business, the Texas Taxing Authority, the Texas Controller, they will send mail to your registered agent. The rules around this is it needs to be an address and a person who are open and available to receive mail during normal business hours. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. For that reason alone, your home address and you are probably not a great choice.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not home.
People are home. Yeah,
Right, but
that's
the
fair.
risk on that is pretty low, so it's not a big, that part's not a big deal. What is a big deal is that means you're putting your name and your home address on this very public filing. Anybody can look it up. Anybody can see it's associated with the LLC. So again, if anybody's ever even considering suing you and they just look up your LLC, they have your home address.
Dang.
And depending on how upset they are, like that feels dangerous.
I mean, yeah, in this day and age.
It feels really dangerous, yeah. So what we do above and beyond, because there are other registered agent companies out there, is not only will we be your registered agent, we'll also be your business address.
Okay.
So you don't have to put your home address on anything.
Love it.
So one thing people sometimes consider is getting a P.O. box, which is usually, I don't know, $70 to $100 a month or something, depending on where you are. But a lot of official forms won't allow you to put a P.O. box on their form.
Huh.
Your EIN has to be a physical address.
Has to be a physical address.
Yeah.
And the EIN is kind of like a social security number for a human.
Yes.
But it's the business, like social security number.
Yep.
Okay. See, look, I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm
know
learning.
things.
Yeah.
You know things.
I know things that I drink.
Yeah. So basically, for less than a P.O. box, it will be your business address and your registered agent.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I love this cocktail.
It is so good.
And it's nice and purple, so that's pretty cool.
It's my favorite color.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
It's a color of royalty.
Yes.
The color of royalty.
100%.
So this goes very well with LLC talk. So basically what we've said is everyone needs an LLC.
I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
Musicians need LLCs. Influencers need LLCs. If you sell items at craft fairs, you run a business.
Yeah.
Literally, if somebody pays you for something you made, or an item, or a service, like performing music, or selling something at a craft fair, even like if you have an Amazon business, I've heard it's really easy to set up Amazon businesses now, where you can make
for sure.
journals or something, and Amazon will print it as they're purchased. Like, it's crazy. If you have an Amazon business, form an LLC.
Yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't. Especially, I mean, you have to pay the $300 filing fee for the state of Texas. But I mean, how much is Corporate Legal's LLC?
$79.
$79. So $379 to set up an LLC.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And when people talk about the cost, I'm like, I'm gonna need you to believe in yourself a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Right? I want you to believe in yourself. You will make enough to recover this.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
I feel like you should go ahead and just put that in your costs for starting the business.
100%.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're risking everything. Because the other thing is, if you make money into your business and then you pay yourself out of your business.
Taxes, baby.
Those taxes. B, those assets go from business assets to personal assets. And now your business has very few assets in it that are at risk of a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Right?
I never even thought of it that way. Yeah.
So if you're just by yourself and you're paying yourself, everything you make is at risk.
Yeah.
If you form an LLC and then pay yourself out of it, so little is at risk because only what's left in the LLC is at risk if there's a lawsuit. Of course, if you get sued and then move stuff out, that's not good. Don't do that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
The courts might not be okay with it. You may lose that LLC protection.
Frowned upon.
But if you just have a practice of paying yourself out of the business, then there's very little left in the business. It's operating costs.
Yeah. I like that. So I always ask, where are your favorite places to hang out, have a cocktail, and maybe go out to eat? Like, where are your favorite places around Houston?
Okay. My favorite place for a special or fancy night out is called Theodore Rex.
Ah, Theodore Rex.
Yeah?
I haven't been there. My brother loves it though. Yeah.
I actually haven't been to Theodore Rex yet. It was Oxheart beforehand.
I've been to Oxheart,
You just can't beat Justin Yu.
Yeah.
on anything food related.
Is that why you go to BLT all the time?
That is
Yeah,
why I go to
fair.
Better Luck Tomorrow. I was
Yeah.
like, and segueing into
Yeah.
like the first place we ever had drinks together.
Yeah,
Better
that's
Luck
right. Better
Tomorrow.
Luck Tomorrow. That's right. Yeah.
That's where we like bonded.
Yeah, after a refinance.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
After sale.
After the sale.
That was when
After
I
sale.
bought my house,
That's
yeah.
right. That's
Yep.
right. Yeah,
Yep.
that's awesome.
But I also really like Squabble
Okay. Like
here in the
Squabble.
Heights.
Yeah.
And Anvil will always have a really special place in my heart.
Didn't you used to study when you were studying for the bar in law school? You would go to Anvil. Isn't that what you were saying?
Literally like 7 nights a week.
That's amazing.
Starting in 2009. Yeah, the
Wow.
year they opened.
Yeah.
They opened that same year.
That's how you met Matt Tanner. Shout out Matt Tanner.
Oh. Yes, he made the most fun. He still makes the most fun drinks.
He's phenomenal.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
And then Tongue Cut Sparrow is really cool.
I like Tongue Cut Sparrow. Okay, cool. We can agree on all that stuff.
Okay.
For sure. For sure. Like it.
I left out one specific one. Do you want to name it?
I can't say it. It's.
Because we want to keep it low key. Like we don't want people to go there, so they're gonna stay. Okay.
Is it? Well, we can say.
Oh
No,
you just like physically can't say the words.
I can't physically say the words. La Commandor, La Commandor. Can we do it? How do you say it?
La Colombe Dior.
That.
La Colombe Dior.
La Commandor. I just can't say it, and I've told people about it, and like look at me like, no, there's this other place. I'm like the French hotel that's has an amazing bar and restaurant, and it's amazing. I actually took my wife Molly there after she had Clara, and she fell in love with it. She was like, "This is why you talk about this place all the time." I'm like, "Yes, yes," and their cocktails are some of the best in Houston. They are
So good.
phenomenal. So if you get a chance, go there.
Also, their French onion dip.
Oh yeah, their French onion dip is dope. So good.
So good.
It's so good. So yeah, that's
Not
that's,
to throw
that's
any
for sure.
shade on my like French's onion soup mix with sour cream.
Oh, okay, yeah, the OGs.
Yeah, like you know, something stick with you.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, Ash, as always, thanks for coming to hang out and having a cocktail.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Thank you
course.
for making me an aviation.
Yeah, this is really good. I'm actually
So good.
pretty surprised of myself not to.
Like if we wanted to make another one after this, that's like doable.
Yeah, it's doable. I think we have enough stuff. We'll see. But so where can folks find it? Instagram, The Corporate Legal.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, The Corporate Legal.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, Corporate Legal.
Yeah.
Twitter, The Corporate Legal. Awesome.
And then the website, if you are ready to form an LLC, is thecorporatelegal.com.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you guys. If you don't have an LLC, please get one.
Get one.
Again, thank you guys for watching. Until next week. Cheers.
Cheers.